Well, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining this fireside chat today. And we have with us eminent people like Sandeep Mishra, who's the Chief Distribution Officer, Partnerships and Group Business, Bharti AXA Life Insurance. Sandeep brings 2 decades of partnership expertise from premium insurers like Aditya Birla, Sun Life, and Max Life. He drives growth through synergies, team empowerment, bank assurance, while spearheading distribution channel training. Welcome, Sandeep, to this show, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Sanjiv. Thank you. Pleasure is
Uh,
all.
Thank you. Yeah. Our second panelist is Mr. Rohan Srivastav, who's head of business expansion at OnSurety. Rohan is a seasoned business professional with 15 years of banking experience, and he's the visionary leader known for his impact. As head business expansion at OnSurety, he scales healthcare accessibility while nurturing his adventurous spirit. Welcome to the show, Rohan. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure is all mine, Sanjeev. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. And then we have Mr. Yashwant Lodha, who's a co-founder at PayNearby's. And Yashwant is an engineering graduate from Manipal Institute of Technology and MBA from NMIMS. And he is an expert in strategy and analytics. Formerly at Yes Bank, he managed digital payments and UPI. Welcome, Yashwant, and thank you so much for joining this fireside chat today.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you so much.
And just let me thank you, Yash, and just allow me to give a very brief introduction about myself. My name is Sanjiv Singh, and I'm a Chief Business Officer with PayNearby for about past 3 years now, and carry about, say, 28 years of experience in sales and distribution, primarily with telcos like Idea Cellular, Reliance Infocom, and Tata Teleservices. So good, welcome you all once again. And as you know that India is celebrating 76th Independence Day. And if we talk about a quality healthcare facility or insurance, it is a basic human right? And I'm sure you all would agree. And the one question that is as relevant today as it was all those years ago also, when our tryst for destiny began with the unfurling of the tricolor at midnight, is what is true freedom? And we often find ourselves visualizing spending our money the way we please, or leading a peaceful life, doing whatever we want without much of a stress or worry. After all, what is that we are trying to achieve, right? And if you look at achieving financial freedom is a dream for all of us, and that is what we are trying to achieve. And isn't it? You all would agree to that. And freedom means what? Freedom means liberty from any form of dependence. And this encompasses the freedom of thought, expression, work, worship, and the freedom to live a life filled with dignity. India, that is Bharat, is it truly free in the true sense? And what does freedom imply? Right? That's the question. And this I said just to set the stage right, that how do we proceed with the discussion? And you would agree that poor or unacquainted people, and most of them who reside in rural part of the country, are the most vulnerable to shocks arising from sickness or say, accidents, death or loss of assets due to natural calamities and riots, etc. Micro insurance is the protection. It's a dhal of such low-income, rural, or unacquainted people. The strongest drive to understand more about micro insurance comes from the realization that insurance is an essential tool in improving the protection of low-income or unacquainted rural people against the financial exposure due to life cycle event, economic activity, environmental issues, and political issues, which they may face, they may come across to. And to my mind, insurance cannot resolve any of the major underlying issues. It can, however, provide the tools that delimit the financial exposure of such individuals when adverse or cost-generating events do occur. So, gentlemen, today we are going to discuss empowering rural India on micro insurance segment. Would like today's discussion to revolve more around, say, building distribution reforms. How do we create awareness and motivate people to subscribe to insurance? As I said earlier, that India is celebrating its 76th Independence Day, and India that is Bharat, I wish to start a conversation with a very fundamental question. And I would pose this question, Rohan, to you, right? And your input, your view on this would be of great help. That how equipped do you think Bharat is for healthcare and insurance?
Thank you so much for asking this question. And Sanjiv, lovely context setting perspective. It was a very detailed approach from your side. So, I mean, if we are talking about from micro insurance in rural, I think there are three aspects which keep running in my mind, not from today, but from the time I've been attempting specifically MSMEs, SME, and even the rural reach in India. I think the biggest play which today, which is needed. First question from your side was to how equipped we are. I think we are at the right spot. The requirements from a enablement perspective in the market are all available. The only thing which is needed from players across is just stitching those dots. I think from a perspective of reach, reach today is offline. You have online reach. The biggest thing in reach, which I have seen in last specifically 3 years, have been the tech play, which is enabling this reach. I mean, as much as ease, if we can try and bring, I think the biggest portion has been the ease of understanding the product. Rightly said so by you that from the market, they need to first be aware that insurance is a product which is actually going to de-risk all the kind of ad hoc requirements which are going to come. And I think from that market perspective, the biggest risk any one of us carry is the financial risk. And reaching there, I think the biggest option which is available across all of us are the tech play. And I think the tech makes life pretty much at ease. We have seen so many use cases across in the market today from a penetration perspective that tech has been enabling. And on a click of button today, you are able to access all the details about what are the products or services which are available. And I think the biggest piece have been the portion of community building. I mean, as much as we are going across, educating people, trying to give real use cases across in different communities, that has been a biggest play. So I think that's first point. Second point of being ready about this, I think today there is, in my mind, frankly, from the time I've been in banking, we used to use those terms, right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and still in some portions we use. I'm sure Sandeep and Yashwant would agree. But from this product, I think I always felt is that there is no tiering here. End of the day, we are talking about a human life, right? And the aspect of human life always carries a financial aspect there. I mean, that's something which is a basic thing. So there is no tiering of the product, and from a distribution or from a reach perspective, embedding the product, bringing out those small sachet products which can be available to the user at every day-to-day activity which we do, knowingly, unknowingly, right? I would bring an example here, which from onsurety, which we did last year, and I think it went very well. We could embed a product in something which a Gulf oil product which they were distributing in the market for the drivers, right? And these drivers are literally on the road full time. I mean, I when I got to interact with the driver, I mean, 24 days in a month he's away, right? And he's continuously there on the road. We don't know what are the kind of requirements he might come across. And when we got an opportunity to embed something like this came up really well. So I think from a distribution, embedding, sachet, and education always comes in. And last but not the least, I think other than ease comes is the affordability. I would definitely bring this point here. The third point is the affordability aspect. We need to be cognizant of the fact that if we are attempting a market from a reach perspective, enablement perspective, I think we have to be affordable, making sure that everybody doesn't think twice when it comes to affording these pieces. So making the product as much as easy, as affordable, and educating the market is something which I feel is readily available in India. The work of stitching is going on. So I'm happy to be a part of that.
Thank you so much, Rohan. Your good pointers. We are at the right spot. That's very, very encouraging. Awareness is important, definitely. Tech is gonna play a very critical role, and the ease of use. I think this is wonderfully placed, and giving a good thirst to the, conversation today. With this, I would like to take the conversation to Yash, to you, and the point is that we all know that the overall insurance penetration in India is very low, right? And only 4% of the population is insured. Now, this could be because of the various reasons, like lack of awareness, as Rohan said, that's an area to be looked at, and, how do we tackle that? High premium, which people have to pay. Accessibility in rural parts of the country also remains a challenge. So the question is that how this can be improved, and what are the key modules you think are crucial to achieve the improvement? And the linked question would be, which Rohan brought in, that the tech is going to play a very critical role. That what do you think that technology can play a role in this to place insurances based on, say, demographics, preferences, and needs, which would propel this entire growth? Over to you, Yash.
Thank you so much for bringing me in. And I think Rohan covered a couple of things about the fact that we need to bring in accessibility and the fact that we need to bring in affordability. I also think that a lot of awareness, we need to bring a slight shift in mindset to look at looking at insurance premium as an expense to looking at insurance premium as an investment. It's an investment that gives, if you look at it, it is the investment that gives multifold returns, in the sense that it gives you a disproportionate amount of money when you really, really need it, right? I think a lot of people look at it as high premium and it's an expense and at best a tax saving rule in the urban sectors. In the rural sectors or in the less well-off sectors, it's just looked at a plain expense, right? That is something that one mindset has to, like, how can we look at insurance as a piggy bank that is broken when in need? It's money that you're putting in a piggy bank that is broken when in need, and not as an expense that will just go away and, while away. It is best that the piggy bank is never broken. उससे अच्छा कुछ नहीं होगा किसी के लाइफ में. But अगर हुआ तो वो है वहाँ पे. That is, I think, one big thing that we'll all have to achieve. And sachetization, lower premiumization, availability, right? I was reading the other day that 35%, 40% of the rural people have not even heard of something called insurance. Forget evaluating and buying it, right? Insurance word nahi pata unko theek se. So I think that is somewhere, of course, we'll have to do something. A lot of it, and what will tech do to solve the fact that whether people have heard of insurance? I think more than technology, it will be about how we use existing technology and people, right, to build communities that will explain insurance. Maybe from the product side, we will have to build insurances that need not be explained. In fact, one of my biggest challenges that I keep facing and I keep wanting to solve someday is have an insurance that is explained in one line. No riders, no frills, no benefits. You are paying X rupees for Y benefit. There is no Y plus Z plus, nothing like that, right? I think if you simplify the education to 2-3 lines, not more than that, that is something that will help drive the education piece. And technology in terms of distribution, I think the standard things are how can technology guide the completion of a transaction? How can technology help people consume content around insurance, of why do they need insurance? What is insurance? Whether it be through short format videos distributed at scale, whether it be through contests, whether it be through service, whether it be through embedding. Technology is one thing that enables embedding like nothing else does, right? In the flow of any transaction that we do in day-to-day life, a right insurance product can be embedded. So, and targeting of insurance in terms of demographics and all, yes, that is needed. But I think, like you said, right now 4% is insured. I think instead of targeting the problem, the first problem is to mass outreach and carpet bomb insurance to the scale that how many ever get covered will actually be a addition to the current state of life.
Sure, Yash. Thank you very much. I think it's a beautiful point which you brought up, is the simplicity factor. I think that's very, very important. And along with it is that the consumption of content, by people, what role technology can play into this, right? And the mass outreach, that how do we cover larger part of, the country. And I think, from here, I'll just try and stay with, two things, which is accessibility and affordability, because, while we keep saying, but still that remains a challenge to address. And, with this, I would like to go to Sandeep, to you. And I think, the point is that when we look at that along with accessibility, right? Another connected and underlying challenge mainly in the healthcare sector when we look at is the affordability, right? And since most of people who are in rural part of the country, unacquainted, as I said, they are uninsured. A significant portion of these people has to or remains out of pocket in order to access healthcare services, right? And if you look at most government programs and private health insurance plans do not cover considerable expenditures, right? Including medical tests or say medications and post-surgical costs. And if you look at say COVID-19 pandemic, has been crucial in underlining the system's shortcoming and the gap in the healthcare, ecosystem. So while we all understand, this as a challenge, so but we need to look at and try and answer to the basic question that how an affordable healthcare, or say insurance can be provided to every citizen. How can we achieve this, right? If you can just throw some, light on that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjiv, and thank you, Rohan and Yashwant, for sharing your thoughts. See, I have been in this industry for the last 18 years, and I can share from my personal experience. See, any human being, and I'm giving just a little bit of a context, and as Rohan also shared that there is no tiering of this kind of a population, but any human being that you come across is exposed to three big risks. Number one is risk of dying early. Number two is the risk of living too long. And in between, there is a morbidity risk, a risk of getting diagnosed with a disease and hospitalization and all of that. Now, this is a risk which all of us have, irrespective of which city or which category of population do you fall into, but you are exposed to these three big risks. Now, when you look at the life and health insurance combined, I think this beautifully kind of fits in. Life insurance takes care of the risk of dying early and the risk of living too long. And in between, the health insurance takes care of the morbidity risk, which is, every one of us have this. Now, if you look at India as a market, and I'm sure for all other markets, this holds true, the awareness about this risk, if not 100%, but primarily it's there. We come across news that, somebody got diagnosed with a disease and this happened and that happened. That awareness is already there in the small town and the big towns of the cities, big town cities of the country as well. Now, the problem is in case of, when it comes to awareness, it's there, action to be taken to do something about it. And typical Indian mentality is that, and I've been doing life insurance business for the last 18 years, is that, okay, मेरे साथ नहीं होगा, मतलब, अच्छा, let me take some time, think about it. The call to action is a very, very, cumbersome task. And therefore we call this product as a push product and not a pull product, because you really have to push the product and the customer as well to take a decision. So in terms of accessibility, I think everybody put together, there are, the government opened up the private life insurance industry, and the entire life insurance industry got opened 2 decades back. There are more than 100 plus insurtechs working in the country right now. All put together, there is a kind of a lot more effort going on to create that accessibility and awareness about the product. Thanks to the pandemic, while there were other challenges, but at least people are now a little more worried about health and wealth both, and trying to look at things from a different lens. So as Rohan also shared, maybe the time is set. Now the next question that you asked, that affordability, how can we work on creating this more, product more little affordable? Because, government schemes can only help you as much. They give you a basic support, but a lot. And because of the advancement of the science and medical science and everything, while there are solutions and there are kind of remedy for all your diseases, all your complex medical conditions, but it comes with a price. And therefore, how do you make this affordable? Now, when you look at the product construct, it basically has an underwriting role where, the quality of life that you have and the quality of, living standard that you have has a role to play. We are still not at that level where, the affordability can be made at a level where, everybody feels it is within my reach. There is a lot of analytics which is also kind of helping us arrive and kind of segment the products in a different manner. A lot of access of technology that people have is also giving a lot of insights about what kind of lifestyle, what kind of preferences, what kind of choices people have. And that also gives us a kind of a opportunity to customize our products and solutions. But have we reached a level where this can be made affordable for everyone, and everyone can get one of the best medical treatment? I would say that we haven't reached that level yet. But the work, and earlier, if you remember, there was one flat approach, one brush painting everyone. But now with advent of technology, with advent of data analytics, we are able to customize the products, and we are able to customize the offerings so that people at basis their budget, basis their pocket, they can decide which one to go for and how far they would like to take this cover. So they're not getting penalized for obviously and they're paying for somebody else while they're not getting all the benefits. So technology is helping. Technology, as you all know, that it's no more a vertical, it's a horizontal. Anything that you do in life is on technology. So you can't put tech or a digital as one department. It's like everywhere. And that is helping in making these accessibility and affordability a little more, kind of closer to the aspiration that we have. That's all I'd like to share on this one.
Great, Sandeep. That's helpful. And in fact, you brought up two very interesting, points. And I think, that would help us to take the conversation, forward. While we all understand, right, that we are a large economy, we do have more than 1.4 billion potential beneficiaries. Penetration is low. And we also know that what should be done, right? Like creating awareness, etc. Right? But action to be taken. You made a very beautiful point, 2 points. The action to be taken and the call of action. In fact, you're talking about the executable plan, right? And as we know that there are two ways to look at insurance penetration in India. So one could be the total premium paid ratio to the country GDP, and the other that how many citizens are covered, right? Now, it is important to first look at the latter, because that is where we are facing the challenge. And as I said, that considering there are more than 1.4 billion potential beneficiaries, right? What executable plan do you think, right? And I think, this question, though I'm not posing it to anybody, but, I would request that, all of you, if you can contribute to this, that would really be helpful. That how do we put an executable plan to it to motivate people, right? First of all, and the increase in insurance subscription starts. That because that's where we see, coming as a challenge. It is not that people don't understand that insurance is important to them. It is about motivation and executable plan around it, which helps driving this whole, and put a spree to it. Open to everyone if you all can help with. Yash, can we start?
I will pick it up, Sanjiv, here because you actually made up two very valid term points, and I think where Sandeep ended, specifically on the affordability piece, I totally concur with his views, and painting everybody on the same brush has been there. But I think two points which you brought in, Sanjiv, was one is how can we try and invoke the thought of taking up, right? Invoking. I think invoking is something which has been missing, with my experience from OnSurety's point of view, what we did was the first thing is that we wanted to make it affordable, and the term the subscription thought came in. I think we rolled out this from a monthly perspective, embedding a product not only from insurance, but from a healthcare, the wellness. I think that has been an ask from a market. And when you are educating somebody only about insurance, I think rightly agree with Sandeep, it has been a push thought. It has never been a pull thought. But the moment we are able to embed in, make a sachet or make a package, right, then that push has slowly been transiting towards the pull. Because there is a day-to-day need of talking to a doctor, right, having the right kind of checkups available for the dependents. And I think the last but not the least, having an access to the medicines at your doorstep. I think so. The biggest thing on affordability was making sure that working capital is not an issue for the businesses. Happy to say that in last 1,000 days, we could save approximately 25 crores kind of saving for all the MSMEs, SMEs, and SSI sector. I think this has been the real impact for the lives across who are building India or Bharat. So I think that's was my contribution on this point.
Sure. Would request Yash and Sandeep if you could also throw some inputs on this point.
Sandeep, please.
Yeah. So I think it's a very valid point. I think this is where we all are struggling. How do you make sure that the reach is there, people are aware, people are buying insurance. Very interesting, when you talk to anybody about insurance, and I'm talking about life right now, and I'll come to health. Now, the first notion is it's about dying. It's about, when you really, when you're not there and you have to plan for it. Now, I'll give you some data, very interesting. As an industry, life insurance, we collect, and this is about last financial year, we collected 7 lakh crores of premium. Out of that, 4 lakh crore was renewal. People who had bought earlier, they had paid their renewals. 3.5 lakh crore is your first year premium that you say. Out of that, 2.5 is your the group business, where you buy these loans, where you have housing loans and auto loans and all of that put together, and then you obviously then you protect your the fund business and everything, that the group business, which is gratuity and all that put together. 1 lakh crore was retail. Now you collect 1 lakh crore, and at the same time we also settle claims every year. Now the total claims settled in last financial year, and this is as per the IRD report, was 4 lakh crore. Now there are only 2 components of claim. As a life insurance industry, we're in the business of settling claims, right? We either settle a death claim or a maturity claim. And in maturity, I'm saying there are also withdrawals and you get money backs and all of that. The policy hasn't matured, but you're getting the money back. 6% was only death claim. 94% is your maturity and withdrawals and all of that. During COVID, it went up to 11 and 12, which was almost double. So now you understand it's a 300-year-old industry. chances of dying is very low. Very high chances you will live long, and therefore you will have diseases. You will have these, requirements of medical plans and policies because you will live long. And I saw a video which says that world in 2050 is going to be a world of abundance. Science will not let you die. It's not a world of scarcity, it's a world of abundance. So if you are going to live and you are going to live long, and obviously you will not be productive, therefore taking care of this medical requirement and anything related to your health is going to be of paramount importance. I think that's where we have been struggling to create more awareness, so that people kind of we thought that post COVID, as an insurance business, we used to sell the thought of something can go wrong. That fear is what was our selling point, was something can go wrong and you need to plan for it. And it actually happened. Something went wrong and the whole world came to a standstill. We thought maybe this is the time when people will become a little more aware and, they'll start taking proactive steps towards, protecting themselves and all of that. But I think we still haven't kind of reached that level. More awareness, as you rightly said, about creating that urgency to take a call, because, anything can go wrong anytime. It's not something which can be planned for. How do you make sure that the plan is such where each and every insurable guy is kind of taken care of? I think we need help from everybody in the industry and everybody who's a part of the society to kind of reach, government included. And of late, there has been a lot of effort being done by the regulator itself. Full form of IRDA is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. While there has been a lot of regulations in the past, we see a lot of development happening now, which has been there, but I think it has grown up significantly in the last couple of years, which is a very, very good sign, which is also in line with the vision that by 2047, every Indian should have a life insurance policy and every household should have one health insurance policy. So it's very, very interesting stage for everybody in this business to really ride on this, support by the government, support by the regulator, support by the entire industry. I think the regulator is very keen to open up the entire sector. There are new licenses being given, new players getting introduced. We have almost 3 new life insurance licenses being given. Out of 2 are startups. There are 20 more applications lying, and that's also very, very kind of positive that these companies will get the license. So obviously a lot of effort from the regulator side as well to create a very, very conducive environment. A lot of support in innovation. And the regulator is allowing us to innovate, think out of the box, think out of the normal traditional way of doing the business and come up with a very, very unique offering. Regionalization of insurance means that state insurance, health and life combined products, all that is kind of, that one can think of, which is a kind of a prerequisite to make sure that insurance reaches to a wider population. I think the regulator is supporting, and there is enough kind of a tailwind to the industry to move in that direction. Very unfortunate, the question just will take one last statement.
Sure.
When we look at the data, as I said that there are only 5% which is settled as death claim. And what is the average check which goes to a family in which the death has happened? It's less than 4 lakh rupees. So as you said, that penetration, one is to look at how much and what percentage of GDP are you getting as insurance premium. Second was what number of and what percentage of population is insured. While that is one matrix to look at, the second one to look at is that when people are buying insurance and when we say they are insured, what is the amount which they have been insured for? Less than 4 lakhs. I also looked into the report of IRD which says that the health insurance average claims settled by the health insurance sector last financial year was 30,000 rupees. Okay. So imagine you have a policy in India and the population, when you kind of do the mediclaim, what you are getting in return on an average in the country is 30,000. So one is the penetration and second is to make sure that the penetration is adequate enough to make sure that you are being, covered properly for your risks.
Sure. Before we move, Yash, your view on this, please. And then we get to the other part of the discussion.
Thinking about executable steps, and Rohan and Sandeep mentioned so many things, right? But I was like, there are a lot of regulatory tailwinds in terms of product creation. Organizations like Bharti and many all other insurers have pitched in and are creating many innovative products and have created many innovative products in this entire journey. Drive insurance, like you said, that is still generally a push product and is slowly transitioning towards a pull by way of embedding, as Rohan was mentioning, right? Which brings me to the point. I think there are two critical things that needs to happen. Is if it is a push product today, right? We need a lot of energy to be able to push it through by way of people, by way of technology, by way of people enabled with technology.
Right.
India is a vast country. A large part of population resides in sparsely populated villages, which are spread far and wide, right? Reaching out to those people, I think, will require us to have innovative models. And I think insurance, the regulator has been supportive of that by operating POS model with simplified products, with simplified entry criteria, right? And trying to create these POS points who will obviously dispense this dispense insurance using technology. Right? So it becomes easy to become a POS point. It becomes easy to dispense those policies and using technology, because again, a simplified product in a straight-through process can be dispensed there. I think will be a critical element in increasing the depth of insurance, right? I don't think this will answer the problem that Sandeep very interestingly pointed out, that the average claim size is too small. I think that, I don't know whether we'll be able to increase the claim size, because the moment we try and solve that problem, it will increase the premium and we go into that vicious cycle of affordability. I think the problem will be to reduce the size of cost of accessing basic healthcare. Again, technology will be the problem solution, right? Rohan was hinting some time ago that availability of medicine, availability of consultation. I think bringing access to lower cost healthcare, thereby permitting lower premium healthcare insurance to take care of most of your requirements. Obviously, there will be super specialization challenges that will not be taken care of by this, and that will lead to some amount of penury for the people who go through that scenario, God forbid. But at least for a mass section, the reduction in cost of basic healthcare coupled with POS points, because technology will play a role, but I still believe, and maybe I'm taking a contrarian view here, that a human touch is required to talk about a slightly, how do I say it, discomforting subject like Sandeep said कि मैं मर जाऊंगा इसलिए मुझे मेरे बाद की planning, मैं नहीं मरना, those kind of slightly difficult topics, and a human touch will obviously add value. So I think these two things interplay together is how health insurance can get penetrated to a larger section of the population. And I think insurance is a game of numbers, right? If a lot of people get covered, I think the premiums can definitely go down by default, and is what my sense is.
Great. So I think a lot of inputs. Thanks, Sandeep, Rohan, and Yash on this point. In particular, right? And what I hear, and if I have to put one liner to the key thing which you all talked about is that how do we associate importance to a term called life, right? And make people realize. I think that's very, very important. We should go in parallel while we create awareness, so while we talked about the awareness and affordability much, there is one thing that, what all initiatives, let us look at what all initiatives government has taken so far, right? And when we are there in this, on this playground, what role we can play. Yash, if I pose this question to you and say that there are various government initiatives, right, like Ayushman Bharat Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, and Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, etc., to provide health insurance, in particular to economically weaker section of society. how far do you think these things have helped in driving rural insurance penetration or say utilization? And what do you think, financial inclusion programs can play a role in propelling the whole market growth? Some inputs on this would definitely be of, great value to the audience.
I think, and as far as I remember, Ayushman Bharat is probably the largest health insurance scheme in India, if in this part of the world, if not the entire world, right? About 40 crore people get covered in some shape and form. And that's a very, very, very large number. Even the accident insurance and the life insurance that comes as part of Jan Dhan accounts, right? 900 million Jan Dhan accounts were opened. That's a massive, massive number, right? So in terms of, and there have been significant progress that has happened in terms of the claims that are coming out of the beneficiaries of these programs. There is no doubt that that has helped. I mean, but if you still do a dipstick, a lot of people who have Jan Dhan accounts don't know that they are insured, right? A lot of people who have Ayushman, who are eligible for Ayushman Bharat benefit, right, don't know that they are eligible for that Ayushman Bharat benefit, right? So that is one part of the problem that the entire industry, right from insurers to distributors to technology partners, will have to come together and solve, in terms of how do we make people aware that they have a benefit. And I think, like Sandeep mentioned some time back, and I am really inspired by what he said, right, that insurers are in the business of settling claims, right? If that can truly reach out to the masses, that they are able to get their claims settled, right, with the right paperwork. I am not saying that they should have less paperwork. That's not the idea. But with lesser encumbrances that come along with it, right, can be a great game changer in terms of accentuating the benefit of what the government programs have done. And you mentioned, right, what can financial inclusion and inclusion programs in general bring out? If you look at the success of the microfinance industry, right, what has the microfinance industry has been able to do is they've been able to take credit to the masses over the last 15-20 years since microfinance grew, and then JLGs came, and so many forms of credit to the new to credit scenario, beneficiaries started happening. I think an insurance inclusion program, right, by dedicated people whose the target cannot be overall financial inclusion. Financial inclusion eventually gets lost in the banking and credit. Insurance inclusion is something that will have to be looked at in focus, right? And again, right from all the stakeholders, regulator, manufacturer, distributor, sub-distributor, so on and so forth, right? That insurance inclusion will have to be focused on a single point agenda and not always under a broad header of financial inclusion. Till the time insurance is a sub-bullet point, it will always remain a sub-bullet point. It has to come out of that for it to become a benefit, right? So, for example, banks have priority sector lending targets, right? Not only are they mandated and banks by RBI, but frameworks are created to ensure that priority sector lending happens. How can priority sector insurance be driven, right? Once programs start getting created around this thought that this is a sector that has to be insured, the decision is not on the insuree whether he or she wants to get insured or not. We have to be responsible for the fact that they get insured. Just like banks and other stakeholders have to be responsible for the fact that the priority people get access to credit, is when I think it will start happening, right? As a play with inclusion agents are already present, financial inclusion agent, banking inclusion agents are already present across the sector. How can we skill them, reskill them, and add this as a bouquet, right? Pehle they started off as account opening agents, then they moved to deposit and withdrawal agents, then they started becoming credit agents. How can they become insurance agents? I think a priority sector kind of an approach may help, is one of the things that I can put on the table, Sanjiv.
Great.
Before Sanjiv adds, I think just wanted to add here that it's already there. So as an insurance company, our there are targets defined for every year that these number of lives have to be covered and insured from the rural and social sector. Number of lives, and obviously the total sum assured that has to be kind of given to these people. So it's and as that side of the business which I manage, I can tell you that there is a quarterly reporting which goes to the regulator as well on that. Okay.
Sure. Go ahead. Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you so much, Yash. I think two beautiful things you said. One is the insurance inclusion, very powerful, and building trust that yes, the claims will get settled. That's very, very important, and that would definitely help driving this the whole insurance piece. Now when we look at, right, and we are all talking from the beginning that how do we achieve this, right? And when we look at that, how do we achieve this? And this again, I'm keeping it open for all, and would look forward for your inputs. Mandating is also a way to achieve, a few things. So do you think making certain policies like health insurance, and making it mandatory would help? And that too, keeping in mind the strata of society who may not be so well aware of, or affordability could also be an issue with them. Now, how do we deal with it, right? And how do we achieve this? If you can add few pointers to this, would be of great help.
Sandeep, picking it up?
Yeah. Okay. I think I liked what one point which I think Yashwant shared, that it's a law of large numbers. And when the scale, and it's also related to affordability, and the point that you're mentioning, that how do you make it affordable when you have more people joining the pool? Obviously, it's like a law of large numbers comes to play, and then suddenly you have access to a large number of data sets, large number of customer profile, and therefore you are able to price the product well. And that's where affordability and mandating definitely helps. What is the irony when you buy a motor insurance? Matlab, before the expiry of the 1 year term or policy that you have, you will make sure that you renew the policy. The irony is that you are driving a bike or a car and you are very worried about what happens to the car or the bike in case something goes wrong. You are sitting in the car or the bike and you are not worried about yourself. मैं तो चलो ठीक है, गाड़ी के नुकसान को मैं बचा लूं and I should protect that, but we are not thinking about, and that's where so one part is mandated. It's mandatory, and by law you have to make sure your car is, or your bike or your two-wheeler is insured. So one part of insurance is mandated. Will it help? 100%. And it's with a good cause. Society will become a better place. In fact, when we started the privatization of the insurance industry, it was also, and the government schemes also that you see today, it's with a social angle, that the society will become a better place if we have everybody insured and everybody has access to a certain level of, a healthcare or a certain level of medical, benefits. So therefore, if you ask me personally, will it, kind of really expedite the whole thing that we are talking about with the right reason and with a good intention? I think it will definitely help. But if the true sense of insurance has to be kind of understood, I think this industry has a big responsibility to create more awareness. And obviously some of the data points, and with every passing year, we are using all of this information to really take it to people, to make them understand that some of these things are actually good, because we all, and this is my personal opinion, that हम बुरा वक्त किसको कहते हैं? Absence of money. Accident होना, बीमारी होना बुरा है, बट उसके इलाज के पैसे नहीं होने, ये बुरा है, ये ज्यादा बुरा है, because ये आपके हाथ में नहीं है. Right. Getting diagnosed with a disease is not in your hand. You can't control, you can't stop that. But if you are diagnosed and if you don't have money to get yourself treated, that's actually, bad times. Somebody died, you can't control that. We say that, there is always 3 deaths in a family when somebody dies. There is a physical, somebody loses the father, somebody loses the husband, and the entire household loses the income in case the breadwinner has died. You can't do anything about the first 2. Can't stop, can't replace. But what you can do something about is that financial death or the financial loss. And therefore, more emotional touch, more emotional awareness, more emotional campaign over and above the mandatory part will also take care of the reach. And also the second point that I mentioned, that obviously adequately, one is insured, second is adequately insured, so that you are really well taken care of. So I think a mix of both can definitely help us reach the goal that we are all talking about.
Yeah, adequately insured. Beautiful point. Inputs from you, Yash and Rohan, please.
I think lovely points, Sandeep. I mean, affordability and when at the moment of truth, can you cure it? I mean, that's the point. But I think I'll just go back to Sanjiv's point, is that can it be mandated? I think India has been a country where we have always been setting benchmarks when it comes to large population actions, right? The recent government has been bold enough to take decisions around over a period of time, what I've seen. I mean, I won't hesitate or to appreciate the government in the kind of vaccine program which we did, which not only helped Indians, all of us, but I think the major part of the world, right? Mandating insurance across businesses is something a big ask. What Sandeep just mentioned, we keep discussing about it. I mean, we get into a car, right? Yaar, gaadi ka insurance hua hai kya? So the other guy is asking me. I mean, my question to him is, bhai, gaadi chodo, aapka hua hai kya? I mean, that's the thought which has been there in all of our minds. And I think the mandating is going to solve affordability, Sanjiv. Right? Very lovely point Sandeep brought in is, economies of scale has to come into a product, because this product is basically a underwritten product, right? When you are underwriting a demography, right, you need to have economies of scale. The moment we talk about economies of scale, then the prices have to drop. So economies of scale can only come when you mandate. I think the first step would be a regulatory step, which should at least mandate the businesses that if I am a business owner of let's suppose a size of 5 lives, and I employ 5 lives or something, I mean, I should take care of those 5 lives in terms of at least the life and health. And the moment government mandates this, which itself a decision will take at least 5 years to implement across the kind of length and breadth we are talking about, right? And then automatically the economies of scale will come, and the insurers will have a view that yes, now the economies of scale is what we are talking about, and the prices will drop. I really dream about a day where in India a kid is born, and before the death the certificate of his born certificate, I'm talking about a death certificate, वहां पे एक इंश्योरेंस का एक क्लॉज होना चाहिए. मेरा बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट के साथ एक इंश्योरेंस का क्लॉज होना चाहिए कि kid is born on this date and insured on this date. That is the kind of security, that is the kind of reforms which we need in India. And I'm again I still feel that from the point which Yash mentioned, I think that I being a banker hardcore, and I still believe in distribution going across by word of mouth has been the biggest thing. And rightly said. So by the way, I mean, I always use this term when I was managing one of the assignments in banking, where I was managing with a large force of correspondents. I always say they are the ambassadors, right? And what Yashwant said, that there was an inclusion, there was a payment inclusion, there was a credit inclusion, collection inclusion. I mean, what kind of inclusion? When we talk about taking this awareness to the every last mile of our country, I think we need to have these ambassadors all around. They are trusted advisors. I am not gonna go in the market and say that, hey, I am the guy who's the insurance guy or who's the healthcare guy and all that. Right? I mean, rightly said so by Yashwant, it was first the accounts. I am the account guy. I am the collection guy. I am the payment guy. Right? And that's how it has to come in. I mean, a financial inclusion is a total financial inclusion which we're talking about. And these are the guys whom I always, in my stint at banking also, I always used to call. They're the ambassadors. They are the community ambassadors. These community ambassadors are gonna be the change maker when these mandates comes from the regulator and the government, economies of scale will drive from there. The products will become automatically affordable and ease. And end of the day, this distribution will. So these are the dots which we started the discussion with. So very excited to look for that day.
Sure.
I mean, I'm really waiting for that day.
But a beautiful idea you brought up, Rohan, I must say, which is the insurance at the time of birth. I think that's a beautiful idea, and definitely good to adopt. Yash, your views, please, and then we move further.
Oh, I think mandating always helps, right? But mandating may take away the element of education. For example, RuPay credit cards or RuPay cards come with insurance, but people don't know about it. Jan Dhan accounts come with insurance, but people don't know about it. But right embedding can probably help. Or let's just take example of what Rohan said of birth certificate के साथ insurance का clause नहीं, proper एक पूरा बड़ा insurance certificate though that he cannot miss the clause, right? One of the conversations that I was having was that जब बच्चे स्कूल जाते हैं उसके साथ इंश्योरेंस का प्रीमियम जाएगा ना, तो the kid will also see that receipt. If nothing, he will read the word or she will read the word insurance. If nothing, they will come home and ask what is insurance. The parent will have to find out what is insurance. And once they find out what is insurance, they will buy insurance because it makes logical sense. Right? So some of the right embedding will probably help. Two-wheeler, four-wheeler insurance to mandate ho gaya, and people are now worried about their two-wheeler, four-wheeler, not worried about their own life so much. I think so. That's my view.
Right. Right. Great. So I think education, and creating awareness, we all feel is very important. And what I hear, right, from Rohan, you, Sandeep, and Yash, one single point which all of you tried driving is the natural adoption, right? Making people realize that you are part of a journey, and you are on a vehicle called life, and you carry a responsibility, and hence you act responsible. I think that's a very great message, and this is I would say was a beautiful conversation, right? Which helps us to understand that in order to create a distribution reform, create awareness, work on product technology in order to drive the insurance inclusion, as Yash says, definitely it's a great field to work and take it to a greater path of success. I think it was a wonderful discussion. Before we conclude, I would request any closing remarks from you all. That would really be great.
So I'll take that up.
Sure.
And
Yes. Yeah.
Sandeep and Rohan can also pitch in. I think it's a large journey. It's a long journey. It's a country of almost 1.5 billion people now. We may not solve all problems at one go. We will not. I don't even want to think of solving all problems at one go. We should all, who are part of the industry, the playground, like you mentioned, right? All players should just take care of one problem at a time. And I think all of them put together will solve the whole problem by itself. Even if like at PayNearby, we would see what we can do to probably solve. And I'm just putting it out there to first solve the problem for retailers themselves, right? Who are our core customers, or maybe their own family members. Even if all of us were to take our next, circle of influence and try and solve it for them, it will eventually solve all by itself, is all that I'll say.
Great.
Yeah, I think I completely agree. It's one step at a time. You just have to do your bit, and I think we will be able to collectively reach a level where we want to. A lot of distance has got covered in the past. In fact, honestly, when I bought my first life insurance policy, as you rightly said, Sanjiv, it was for tax saving. Matlab, I got an LIC agent who came and told me, "Acha, itna tax katta hai, ek kaam karo, ye policy le lo." And I was very happy that I made a wise decision. And I got the money as well. I'm happy about that. That whatever savings, at least the habit of savings and discipline of saving kind of really gave me the benefit. But it's like you are buying a helmet to get yourself protected from the police challan, and therefore you're buying a 500 or a 200 rupee helmet. Otherwise, if you're really worried about the protection, you will buy a ISI Mark 2000 rupees worth, helmet, because you understand the benefit of that product. So yes, there is a lot, and this industry requires, and as you rightly said, Yashwant, that mandating may kind of do away or remove that education part, and therefore it becomes a onerous burden, and therefore you would like to take it that way. So I completely agree with that. There is a lot of ground which needs to be covered about creating awareness about this beautiful product, which obviously comes to your help and rescue when you are in need. A motor insurance, a health insurance, or a life comes handy whenever you are in trouble. So I think that's where we need to do, and we need to do our bit, and I'm sure collectively we'll be there. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for this conversation and this discussion.
Thank you, Sandeep.
I am only summing it up because pretty much clear thought around all the stakeholders. There are going to be a stakeholder which is the government or the regulator, right? I mean, we spoke about it. We also, spoke about as industry or as the ecosystem player, what is our responsibility? And I think the point which Yash made at the last is, that's fantastic closing point, that everybody, be it the government, be it as industry player in the community, we need to become one spark of that community to drive this particular aspect. So yes, I still close with the same remark that we as a player from OneSurety are also focusing on that. We are picking up the game from a perspective of bringing ease, affordability, and a lot of experience through offering this tech. So very, very excited for the coming, the journey which we are looking forward, specifically in healthcare. And I'm sure this right spot, this right time, and the market, or even the government, all the enablers are available. So very much positive about the outlook. And the last, lovely interacting with you folks. Sandeep, Yashwant, and Sanjiv, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to have this interaction.
Thank you so much, Rohan. I think wonderful conversation we had, and it was an honor to have you on the panel, Rohan, Sandeep, and Yash. We know your time is precious, and we are grateful that you were able to carve out some time for this meeting. Thank you so much, and a great day ahead to you all. Shiva, thank you so much for organizing this event. I think this was fabulous. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.